Hi, I'm Courtney.
And I'm Nate, and welcome to the Mono-Poly YouTube channel, where we talk about life, love, and relationships. Thanks for joining us. And again, as we go forward, please subscribe, comment in the comments below. We'd love to talk with you guys and learn more about what your thoughts are, how it can help you along your journey. So today, we're going to talk about monogamy and polyamory, mostly about what polyamory is, because as we go on this journey, it's going to be really helpful for you to understand where we are and what we understand it to be, so we can move forward. So Courtney, you want to tell us a little bit about what polyamory is? Although again, I will tell you, before we even start that I had no idea before we started this journey. So I'll let Courtney explain to you about her journey through this, and I'll kind of, come in with some comments and some thoughts as we go along the way.
Well, what did you think polyamory meant when I told you I was polyamorous?
Yeah, great question. So, we talked a little bit about this in the last video, but my thought was more that polyamory was essentially something like swinging, or somebody who just wanted to go have casual sex potentially, or have a hookup on a weekend or whatever it may be, right? I really didn't understand, as we'll talk about more, that it was more to do with love and understanding what that meant. To me, it was more of just a sexual thing. So what are your thoughts? How did you see it at first, and then where do we see it now?
Well, when I first asked to open the marriage, I didn't know what I wanted. I just knew that a lot of my needs weren't getting met, and that I had this desire when I reflected back on previous romantic relationships to not only have one partner. And so when I asked you to open the marriage, I didn't use the word polyamory at first. And in fact, I was really hesitant to use the word polyamory because I felt like that was a whole community that I couldn't identify with. And it's funny how what we resist and what we find annoying is usually where we find the most acceptance when we choose to really consider what it is that we're hesitant to accept about it. So, what is polyamory? Polyamory literally just means many loves. And I just want to make a caveat that all of the concepts and terms I'm going to use are very personal to people. And so that kind of gets a little confusing, because what it means to me or to Nate or to whoever, it can be different to different people, which is why it's really important that you ask the person, if you're interested in dating them, what that means for them, or if you're interested in any kind of relationship with them. So in polyamory is a spoke of non-monogamy, and non-monogamy is like the opposite of monogamy. So in non-monogamy, you have polyamory, you have swinging, you have open relationships, and all of those have subcategories underneath, and every couple does it differently. I have a lot of friends in the community, and their relationships, none of them look the same. Everybody has different rules. So it's really important that you figure out what it is that you feel comfortable with, giving yourself permission to reconsider whatever those rules or boundaries are, and never be afraid to communicate. How was our communication in the beginning?
Our communication in the beginning, I would say, needed improvement. That's what I would say.
Yes.
So again, I think that part of the journey was that Courtney didn't know what she wanted at the start. And so it's hard to communicate an idea when you don't know what that idea is, right? I think she had an inkling of what she wanted, but then because it wasn't fully formed in her mind, how could she communicate that to me? Yeah. And then, of course, then I would have to receive that message, understand it, process it, and then be able to do something with it. And so, again, it was very challenging because for us, we didn't fully know what it was going to look like in the beginning. And so that meant a lot of arguments and frustrations and miscommunications, because we weren't aware of just sort of how that journey was going to look, because we were, for the most part, seemingly making it up as we go.
Yeah, no, we totally were. And I think I was afraid of your judgment because we didn't know anybody. I mean, I knew people from work. I'm a trained sex therapist. And so I knew colleagues who were in non-monogamous and non-traditional relationships, but we didn't have anyone in our life that we could just hey, how does it work in your marriage? Or how does it work, as a parent? And so there was a lot of judgment and a lot of fear that I was afraid of getting from Nate, because I was not at a place where I could love and accept myself.
And again, some of that is just because we had built this marriage on the idea of monogamy, right? Both of us being monogamous. And so when that changed, it was like a fundamental shift, obviously, in our entire marriage, right? And so we'll go into that more in future episodes. And again, like we said earlier, please subscribe, help us to grow the channel. But because we didn't know what we were doing in a lot of ways, it was hard to communicate that and what that was going to look like. And then that doesn't even begin to go into telling family, telling friends, telling our kids. And so again, hard to build that foundation when we didn't quite know where we were going with it.
Yeah. And one of the things that is really helpful is when I realized that Nate felt super threatened by my exploration into polyamory. And I didn't realize that it was triggering a lot of his issues that he hadn't worked out. And that impacted our marriage and our ability to really tackle this transition and my identity crisis as a couple and being on the same team.
Yeah. And again, I didn't even know, I think I had some of these, issues, and everyone brings their own issues into a relationship, which of course, I think we all know that. But how her polyamory was affecting my sort of insecurities and my fears from childhood or from whatever else it may be. And that was affecting us. And so I didn't know that. I couldn't communicate that with her. And so then we weren't communicating very well. And so again, briefly, I understood monogamy because that's what I am. And so I thought we were monogamous, and that's what, where we thought we were going and going to spend the next, 40 plus more years of our lives together. And when that changed, it was a fundamental shift, and it was very challenging for me.
Yeah. So if you are in that place where you're considering opening or being poly or whatever, I would encourage you to really do some research on what those terms mean and how they land with your partner. So how does it, because Nate felt really uncomfortable with the idea of me having lots of casual relationships. So being in more so in like an open marriage where I kind of come and go and have different partners here and there. Whereas he felt much more safe with me pursuing one other partner and having a love, a romance, all of those within a safe container. And that works best for us. And that's where we're at now. But at the time we didn't really know that. And we didn't know the many options that we could create to make a situation work for the both of us.
And so as we go forward, and that's all true, right? That's where we are in our relationship journey right now. And we'll continue to share that with you. But as we go forward, our goal is to give you resources to look at things from books to podcasts, to review those for you and other websites so that you can better understand both where you are in your journey, as well as where you can go moving forward, right? Because we're still learning, we're still trying to get better and improve things. We've read a lot and looked at a lot of other things and resources that we're going to try to give you guys so that you can continue to grow in your relationship with yourself as well as with your partner.
Yeah, and that's what I tried to do at first, to try to convince Nate that, and that's really what it felt like. I was trying to convince him to be open to this. And when you're in that position where you're trying to drag your partner along, it makes it really difficult to stay connected. And that's really where a lot of resentment built, but from him to me. And so we really desire for this channel to be a resource that can spur dialogue between you and your partner and really utilize the resources that we're sharing with you, because we would love it if you didn't have to go through the heartache that we went through, and that you could really be open and supportive and curious about the different lifestyle that you can really create. Because man, it's amazing. Our romance, our sex life, our friendship, it is the best that it has ever been. And I think that is because that we both believe in the marriage that we've created and that we are intentionally choosing each other.
So totally agree. It's great. And we're going to get into that, and you may be questioning that and wonder if that's even possible. So please subscribe, stick with us. We have many more episodes to come. We're going to break down things from our relationship, how open the relationship went, talking to our family, friends, everything that's been involved so far. And then we're also in future episodes going to talk with people with other relationships and other relationship styles and orientations so that we can learn from them, so that we can help you as well. Mm-hmm. So please subscribe. And as I always say to each other,
can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.